Welcome to episode 206 of the Lone Hockey Podcast, where today we're going to be talking about some standouts in last night's matchup between Pittsburgh and Utah. And I was really impressed with this game for Pittsburgh, and I thought they've had some better games as of late, and I feel like they've gotten a little bit more offense there in this little last stretch. And Sidney Crosby obviously getting the O2 winner. That was a really good start and just a really good ending to the game for them. Just all around 60-minute effort. And with the Penguins, they have a lot of players who can contribute offensively. It's just more a matter of it's a little inconsistent how they generate offense. So, but they're actually getting really, really close to getting right around the 500 mark. And I wouldn't be surprised if at some point they get towards that mark, if they're able to maintain that consistency a little bit more. And like I said, Sidney Crosby is great throughout this game. You notice him every single game. And I was writing about this in my article that I had featured on him today, and was talking about how even at his 5'11", 6 foot frame, right around there, he still plays the game like a bigger power forward. And he's obviously got a lot of strength in his legs, strength in his lower body, and the ability to hold off contact because he's really strong in his core too. So it doesn't surprise me how he's able to play the game so effectively and just how he's able to manage the game so effectively. I feel like there's a lot of situations where a lot of players would normally freak out in, and he just maintains this calmness all over the ice, especially under pressure. I feel like that's where he's calmest, ironically. And I noticed it in that 3-on-3 overtime where he came off the bench, sprinted off the bench, and he attacked the strong side D, was able to maneuver around the strong side D, maintained his top elbow hyperextended out so that way he can get range of motion on his puck handling and tight. And he drove through a contact, had his front leg stationed directly in front of his other leg so that way he can get around the stick and get around the pressure of that defenseman. And then he drove inside the net, and then he had the discipline to be able to hold on to the puck throughout the middle of the crease and then work his way towards the back post. So he did that. He got to the back post, and then he was able to get the goaltender sprawling out and down. So that was key for him to be able to lift the puck and be able to score in the upper part of the net. So it's just a really good goal from him. And obviously he scored a lot of really nice goals over his career, both internationally and in the NHL. But just this one was really impressive because of the poise he was able to maintain in that area. And this is obviously a situation where many players, if they had the puck near the crease, they would panic, right? And he did not panic one bit. He managed the game so fluidly, and he was just so in control of the whole situation. The discipline that he had to be able to maintain puck control, going all the way across the crease from the front post to the back post, that was key for him being able to score that game winner. And then some other standouts. Really liked Eric Carlson's game. I really liked his puck movement. Really liked his ability to be in the offense. And he's an interesting defender because, of course, he's getting thrown around in trade rumors once again. And it'll be an interesting situation to see how things play out with him there. But Carlson obviously has been okay in his time and tenure in Pittsburgh thus far. He hasn't been elite, but there's still flashes of elite offensive upside that he shows in games, and I thought this game was one of them. And he did a really good job with his activation in the neutral zone, attacking rushes, attacking entries, just being able to be involved heavily in the offensive side of the game was a really big key point to his success, and obviously ended up scoring. He had 5 shots as well, so really creating a lot of volume there is really noticeable. And Marcus Pettersson, another Swede who I thought was really noticeable as well. He had a goal, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was in the second, or it might have been the first. But he was just really noticeable. I don't notice him that much offensively, but defensively, he's more of a shutdown style defenseman. I would imagine if they look to trade him this year, they're going to get some value back for him. He's a guy that plays the game steadily, but he can be reliable if you pair him with the right guy. And especially if you're pairing with an offensive-minded defenseman, he's just going to be more prone to being able to be a more shutdown opposite effect of that offensive defenseman on a pairing. So he's done that really good in Pittsburgh so far. And like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if he does end up getting moved And if he's able to land a higher pick, maybe a later first round pick or an early second, I just feel like the style of play really would resonate with the style of play that playoff teams would need in terms of a shutdown defenseman who can sometimes be an underdog in his offensive ability and contribute when need be. So he was really good. He was really noticeable. I really liked his game. And Cody Glass and Matt Grzelcyk, two other guys who I thought more on the depth side were noticeable there as well. I noticed Grzelcyk in terms of puck movement and just the ability to move pucks up ice, be in transition, and activate in the offense. I thought he was really noticeable and just played a really good all-around game. As for Utah, I think Logan Cooley's just been dynamic lately. He's been so fun to watch, especially on entries, how he's attacking diagonal in the neutral zone, how he's getting off the wall. Like there's a lot of exciting elements to his game that we saw and we've seen translate from Minnesota so far. And has just played a really good offensive game, really all around steady in terms of the offensive zone play. He's really reliable there. Like he plays a very steady game and plays with a very steady pace. And I think that's what makes him really intriguing, especially with a Utah team that likes to play a little bit more up tempo and transition. Logan Cooley really fits the system effortlessly and has really turned into their top line center. I would say he's been so good and he's just been so consistent to the point where he's on pace for around 70, 75 points, somewhere around that mark. And he's just playing so good and so exciting to watch night in, night out. He's turned into one of their most dynamic players this season. And it's a really big jump from last year to this year in terms of his offensive production. And he's just played so well. He's played lights out. Really fun to watch. And then Mikhail Sergachev, who had a really, really nice goal. And I was really impressed with that goal because he was able to skate and activate the weak side and then just laser a shot in. I believe it was with his wrist shot. And he just lasered it in top shelf. Absolutely perfect accuracy and just how he wired the puck, how he shot the puck with purpose, and he was looking the whole way towards the net. So anytime a player has their head up, and they're aware of where the net is, and they're aware of where they want to find space in the net, that's really good for the offensive player to be able to have that and those components to be able to find the net and find it with purpose. So he did a really good job on his goal. And then some other guys, I've loved John Marino, and he was obviously playing against his former team. And John Marino's a guy who's a steady shutdown defenseman, but analytically speaking, one of the better defenders at 5-on-5, PK, and very steady offensively. And you can get a lot of different elements ingrained in his game that can translate to this Utah defensive system. Getting him back now is obviously really important with the injuries that they've had throughout the year. And Maverick Lamoureux, and then you look at Sean Dursey, and I believe I'm missing one. There was one other defenseman who I thought got hurt too, and they had to claim Nick DeSimone as a result of that, but I just can't remember the name right now. But anyway, so with Marino, he's been steady, he's been reliable, he's been engaged in transition, and I don't think you could ask for too much more there. And then Michael Carcone, I thought was really noticeable. And honestly, I thought he was going to turn into the second coming of Michael Bunting in a sense. I haven't really seen it so far, probably because of the role he's been playing. But I would certainly expect at some point that he could perhaps break out even more than he did. I believe it was last year he had that breakout-ish season and just was consistent in terms of goal scoring down the stretch. So he was really good, really noticeable, and really flashy in terms of being able to create in many different situations as well.